Dana Man, thank you so much for the sub. Ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to say this before we started. Y'all have made this channel grow exponentially. And we are still a baby channel, but the amount of attention and interaction, the love that you guys have been giving us has been absolutely extraordinary. And I just wanted to say thank you guys so much. Not only are you making one of Red State's ventures successful, you are making one of my dreams come true. In every single stream, every time I press go live, I feel excited. And I feel like I'm connecting with a community, and we're building this community, and it's so cool that we're doing it in this way. So thank you guys so much for all the support, the subscriptions, the comments. Thank you guys for watching the highlights. Be sure to check out the highlights. I release at least one every single week. The recent one that I just released was Wednesdays. Wednesday when we watched that Twitter exec literally run away from James O'Keefe. I released a highlight of that, put a video together with it, and it has gone gangbusters, and I really appreciate that. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of everyone at Red State, thank you guys so much. You guys are seriously awesome. And seriously, hats off to the lurkers who come in here and watch. Hats off to the commenters who come in here and are taking part in the conversation and carrying this stream forward even faster. Because without you guys, it's just me talking to myself. And I could do that for hours, but I would much rather talk to you guys. So thank you guys so much for proving that something like this can happen in the right-leaning political sphere. There were doubts, but you know what? We're proving them all wrong. So thank you guys so much for that, really. What's up, Amtrue? What's up, Red? What's up, Dennis? How you guys doing? And for all you lurkers out there who don't speak, you're more than welcome to be here. We love you too. Got a lovely present from Grid. Oh yeah, what'd you get? Celebrates growth with goos and gagas. Gotta start somewhere. Amen. Amen. Seriously, thank you guys. Now smash the like button. Exactly. Today, I'm not gonna lie. There's so much flying around. You ever get like overwhelmed by all the news that's happening that you don't know what to talk about? But I think that there's one very, very important thing that needs to be talked about, and it's the fact that we have, well, two things, really. Two things. By the way, do you guys like my hastily put together thumbnail? You can definitely tell that I like clone stamped smoke. But thank you guys so much for being here. I wanted to talk about Elon Musk, the attacks that are happening on Elon Musk. And I think that Elon Musk, at this moment, at least on this Friday, is probably one of the more important stories. For two reasons. One, this man is about to do something that many people have only fantasized about. Literally, it was a fantasy. I think I've said this before. If you were to go back a year and a half ago, and maybe even just a year, and said, man, how cool would it be if like someone just swooped in and bought Twitter and made it a free speech area? How cool would that be? And you would have like, yeah, that would be cool, but it would never happen. Because like, who's going to do that? Elon Musk freaking would. Elon Musk is one of the few people who really has legitimate power, who understands the value of free speech and how free speech carries society forward. It makes actual progress. There are authoritarians out there who want to tell you that actual progress comes from their ideas, which means that only certain people get to have their ideas be the official version of anything, of any given subject. They think that a centralized government, a centralized message, a centralized, a close group of people, like a oligarchy, if you will, is the only way to true progress. And we have seen over the course of humanity that is not the case. So Elon Musk is one of the few people who actually knows what it takes to progress society. And it takes freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of ideas, the exchange of these ideas. He is, for all intents and purposes, a person who values and has lived the ideas of freedom. And I think that's really great that he is now standing up for all of us. And because he's doing that, he is coming under malicious attacks. Egregiously malicious attacks. No one should be surprised about that. No one is surprised. Here's the funny part. These attacks, before the Me Too era, would have probably sunk him. I think that we would be taking these charges that Elon Musk, that have been surfacing about Elon Musk, we probably would have taken them way more seriously. But as per the usual, which is like the leftist chickens are coming home to roost. As I've been saying for a long time, the Democrat Party likes to claim that it's the party of stuff. It's the party of the working man. It's the party of women. It's the party of minorities. It's the party of the LGBT people. It's the party of science. It's this and that. What the Democrat Party, in my honest opinion, really is the party of overdramatics. They take any given situation and they make you think that if you don't give them power over X situation, then the world is going to somehow end. They do everything in their power to make you panic and be afraid. And they say, I will protect you. I will solve the problem. All you have to do is give me control and make these people over here who are the bad guys, our ideological opposites, make them pariahs. Make them social pariahs. Don't listen to them. And don't ever vote them in. In fact, if you see them on the streets, you tell them they're not welcome. Maxine Waters' direct quote. After a time, the overdramatics started to become a little less believable. Because if you, given any situation, whether it's climate change, race baiting, LGBT issues, no matter what it is, they try to make you think that somehow this is going to be the end of the Republic or something like that, and it never comes. The end of the Republic never comes. In fact, as information rolls out, thanks to the creation of the internet, you find out that a lot of what they're telling you in the first place is an absolute lie. Or it's a half-truth at best. And so after a while, we start to disbelieve their initial claims. We don't really go too deep into what they're saying. During the Me Too era, I think that a lot of people who actually were guilty, yes, they did get caught. But, like everything else that the left does, they started to use it as a political cudgel. They've been doing this for a long time, even before the Me Too era. And it was effective. But the Me Too era became so bad, and it began to signal that this was being used for political reasons, and that a lot of the people who were accused weren't even guilty. And then over time, you know, especially like you look back over at, you know, like the UVA rape case, it never happened. Mattress Girl, do you remember Mattress Girl? Never happened. All of these lies kept building and building and building. It got to a point where people were like, you make a claim of sexual assault, but did they actually sexually assault people? People started to disbelieve the left whenever sexual assault claims were made. And now you have another sexual assault claim being made against Elon Musk, On the verge of him overtaking Twitter, getting closer and closer, and having to pay less for it. We're going to get into that in a second. And on top of that, he's recently announced that the left are baddies. They're the baddies. He used to be a Democrat, and now he won't vote for Democrats anymore. Now he's going Republican. And he said, just watch, things are going to ramp up now. And it's almost like they couldn't help but make Elon's prophecy come true. They couldn't help themselves. Turok kid voice. Thank you, Elon. Grid got me DC Star Trek The Next Generation number 16 from February 9. Nice! Very nice. The government is supposed to protect the citizens, the borders, and pay the bills. What happened? I actually wrote an article yesterday about this kind of thing, and I thought, you know, we have a very toxic relationship, a very controlling relationship with our government, and if we really want that to get better and draw better boundaries, then we need to take some drastic steps. And one of those steps is we need term limits in Washington. These people, they get in there, and I don't care how good of a person you are. You get in there, and if you learn the system and the game well enough, and you have the gumption and the ambition, you're gonna get corrupted. That's a lot of power. This is the most powerful country in the world. Imagine being able to run the most powerful country in the world. Have say and sway. Look at Nancy Pelosi. I cannot think of a better idea when it comes to corruption in government because someone had been there too long and exerted way too much power. I think that term limits are absolutely necessary. Absolutely. That's going to be difficult to pull off because why would any politician vote himself out of a job? So I'm saying, like, we need to focus on politicians who are willing to go to Washington and be like, hey, maybe we should care more about the country than our own careers. Just saying. That's why we ran, right? If you run for office, you're doing so because you care about your constituency. You're going there to represent people. If you go there and your whole entire idea is to set up shop and become a barnacle on DC's ass, then why did you run? Seems like you ran for yourself. So I say, if you really want people to do right by the American people when they get to Washington, a few steps we need to take: implement term limits and severely reduce the benefits of being a representative or a senator. Severely. I mean, it's a Spartan lifestyle. You're going there to serve. You're going there to serve, and that's about it. These happenings are proof that academic elites are dangerous if allowed to go off campus and need to be reined in. Absolutely. Absolutely. Dennis, I agree with that 100% because I really believe that a lot of the stuff that we're seeing, especially with the social justice movement, originated on the campus, on the university campus. Because I can remember back in 2014, 2015, going on Tumblr, and a lot of these kids that were then college students and going hard into the social justice ideology, they were all learning it from these hard leftist professors. They get brainwashed. And a lot of people didn't think at the time that anything was going to happen about it because, you know, they all had the same idea. Well, these kids are going to go and they're going to run into reality. And then that's going to change their tune real fast. But they were so programmed that they started to utilize Alinskyite tactics and methodologies that just basically made even CEOs bend the knee. And that's another thing that we need to do if we really want to improve society. Stop funding universities that spit these people out, that actually have a political angle. Because if you have a political angle, your funding goes bye-bye. Peace. Keep yourself open through private means, if that's the case, if you really want to push that stuff. Different game than lots more skullduggery and backroom deals. Like, if we implement term limits, then I guess we need to make that a little more dangerous to do. the party of histrionics and commies. Yep, 100%. 100% red. I think climate change was used as a fear-mongering back in the 30s. LOL, still at it. Yeah, we've been scheduled to die like every decade, and we're still fine. We're good. After a while, you just kind of go, oh, we're gonna die in 7 years if we don't switch to this socialistic, commie, green energy system. It's like, we're good. We're good. I think, I'm gonna take my chances. I'm gonna take my chances. Once political correctness was coined, went down from there. Control of the language is a big deal, Andrew. Political correctness, the way that we define conversations, the way that we define groups, words, everything, really has a lot more of an effect on how we perceive any given situation than a lot of people understand. It's why the left, for a very, 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 very long time, I mean, still to this day, they do it. But they were very adamant that they control the language that we use, what is and is not politically correct to say. It's why you see mainstream media sources and outlets, whenever they discuss any given topic, they will use the same language over and over and over again. And I know that you guys have seen it. There are endless amounts. I mean, I think Newsbusters releases them all the time, where the media will get on a certain subject, whether it's like a shooting or climate change or whatever. It doesn't matter. The Me Too movement, stuff like that. They'll get on a subject and they will all repeat the same phrase over and over and over again so that it's embedded in your mind, and that's how you discuss the topic amongst your friends and family. You know? It's subtle manipulation, but it's manipulation. And they've been doing it for a very long time. And this isn't like tinfoil hat stuff at all. Like, they openly say this. They admit that they do this because it's the best way for them to control the conversation. They're proud of it. They think it's like an accomplishment. I missed the Me Too era. I subscribed to the NFG philosophy while it was happening. The NFG philosophy? What's that? That woman is evil. Most politicians I've met are not in it for their constituents. They're in it for their egos. Oh, absolutely. The vast majority are. I think I trust very few politicians. Very few. I think the one person that I actually, like, believe whenever he speaks, like, I don't feel the need to go in and double check his work to make sure that he's telling the truth, is Rand Paul. He's one of the few. I'm not saying he's perfect, but he's one of the few. Did you see the Eddie Murphy movie where he ran for Congress off of name recognition? Good movie, about right too. No, I have not seen that. I need to. Dude, Eddie Murphy. Oh, is that the one? Oh, where he goes around and, like, he takes on different accents around town? That was brilliant. I never saw that movie. I haven't seen that movie, but I recently ran into that clip. It's so weird that you bring that up. I recently ran into that clip on Twitter. I would totally play it on stream right now because it is absolutely hysterical to watch, but YouTube, I swear to you, I sneeze and YouTube is like, yep, that's a copyright strike. The other day, the playlist, that is, in fact, I have to keep an eye on it. The playlist swapped from being stream beats to some other song from some other person. It was like, it was still like a background noise music thing, but like it literally played for, I think, 5 to 10 seconds. And they were like, copyright strike. It was in the background. I could hardly hear it. So now I've got to be really careful about the music that plays. It's really bad. YouTube's copyright strike algorithm is just so broken. Alinsky didn't go to prison. Think he is a professor now. Alinsky? Wait, is he still alive? Is he actually alive? No, I thought he died. Yeah, he died in 72. He died in 72. I'm not dead yet. I'm feeling better. Saving the planet when I was in high school could be accomplished by recycling newspapers. That was like the reduce, recycle, reuse. And I have absolutely no problem with that at all whatsoever. Because if you really think about it, I mean, reducing, recycling, and reusing is actually like kind of a conservative ideal if you really think about it. Saves money, saves the ecosystem, and that's great, because the whole idea that conservatives just hate the environment is another lie pushed by the left. I have never met people who are more concerned about the health of the land than conservatives, specifically hunters. And it's always kind of struck me as funny that you have these leftists out here who are busy burning garbage in the streets and tossing confetti at each other while they dance and twerk in front of cancel oil pipelines now. That they think conservatives are the ones that hate the environment. I actually watched conservatives, clean up way more than the left ever has. And I'm not just talking about Scott Pressler. You think back to a lot of other, remember the Tea Party? Remember the Tea Party back in the day? The Tea Party gatherings that were happening, Tea Party protests that the left said were dangerous and horrible, and there was, violence and white supremacy, yada, yada, yada. I can remember one year, conservatives had, I think it was in DC. They had one of those protests, and they left that area cleaner than when they found it. Like they were so clean, the garbage was like thrown away in the proper receptacles, and it was like they didn't like leave behind anything. It was pretty crazy to look at. They took before and after pictures. And then, like, around the same time, a green, it was another, what are they called? It wasn't, it was like some sort of like green, energy, not green energy, but like nature, ecological protest or something like that. I can't remember what they called it at the time. But they took before and after photos, and that place was freaking demolished. There was garbage everywhere. People were just haphazardly tossing stuff at trash cans. They were overflowing. Like people had to go in and clean it up, and it was just really nasty. And that seems to be like the constant green bowel movement. It seems to be like the constant pattern, because I can remember the Dakota oil pipeline protest on that land, the Native American land. And these people were coming in here like protesting about how oil pipelines are going to kill the environment, which is a lie, by the way. It's like the safest way, cleanest way to transport oil. This is even admitted by John Kerry, by the way. But they eventually had to kick all these people out because they had developed a camp that was where the pipeline was supposed to go through. And it was like garbage after garbage pile. These people like destroyed that land to the point where people were having to go in with like hazmat suits in order to clean it up. And they were like, yeah, this land that they've been camping on is ruined. Like there's toxicity in the soil now because of these people. It's the same. It's like the left's unofficial motto is it's okay when we do it. And when they do it in ways that are just way worse than anything that they've accused the right of. It's no F's given. I get it. That's good. That's good. I already read that. YouTube is picky as hell. Yeah, they are. Didn't die soon enough. If you thank Satan at the beginning of your book, maybe we shouldn't be reading your book. I mean, I will say one thing. Alinsky, to his credit, he was good at understanding human psychology. He was good at that, and he used it for evil purposes. Climate change, the religion for those too smart for religion. It is a religion, the Church of Climate Change. Are you kidding me? Common sense is all that is needed for the environment. If they really cared, start on the plastic mass in the Pacific. Actions speak louder than anything. Dude, amen. There was that one kid who developed like a boat that does stuff, that cleans up trash in the water. It's almost like a paddle boat, but with the paddle on the front. And it like picks up the garbage and throws it in the bag. That's what we need. More innovation. More innovation. You know where innovation comes from? Capitalism. Dude, there's one thing that you can bet on. If let's say that AOC and her Green New Deal nonsense actually comes to fruition and it is voted into law, I can guarantee you one of the first victims of it ain't going to be the people, it's going to be the environment. That is going to get destroyed. I'm telling you. Common sense is all that is needed for the environment. If they really cared, start on plastic. Oh, I already read that. Hunters are conservationists with a gun. I got that from an interview I did with Steve Ranellia. That is Dennis. So my dad is actually he's a great conservationist. And he taught me that some of these people who come around do not, they pretend that they claim that they care so much for the environment, but they don't understand how to take care of it. And that's like one of the biggest things. They do not understand how to take care of an environment that they claim they want to protect. So they will stop you from doing things that are necessary because they think it's bad. And I'll give you a really great example here in Texas. We have a wild hog population that, if it wasn't for hunters, would spiral out of control and destroy everything. The Texas landscape would be demolished. Birds, animals, deer, everything, it would die left and right. And we would be overrun with hogs. So we go around, and this is one of the reasons you hunt hogs all year long. We will go around, and if you see a wild hog, shoot it on sight. Don't even question it. Pop it. Kill it. And eat it if you want to, you know. We used to set sea traps at our ranch because to capture hogs, specifically so that we could kill them and get them off our land. And you would not be, like, it doesn't matter what time of the year it is. If you see a mama hog, it probably's got baby hogs right behind it, and it's probably pregnant already. They're that bad. They're that bad. But if you were to ask and tell, you know, these people about it, these, you know, environmentalists, that this is what you're doing, they would freak out and be like, you can't kill the pigs, that's horrible. No, it's not. No, it's not. How about I set a couple? I will take 4 wild pigs, just 4, and drop them off in your state. See how long it takes for these pigs to run wild and destroy everything. We are the watchers of the wall here in Texas, man. We're like, they're coming right for us. I mean, it's that bad. Are you talking about Portland and Seattle? Wait, San Fran deserves to be on that list. God, I feel so bad for places like that because they're so beautiful. San Francisco really is a beautiful town. I would love for one day, like California, to just revert back to Republican control. And I don't mean just Republican control. I mean like a mentality of Republicanism, like at least some sort of conservatism in that state. Oh my God, can you imagine how awesome California would be? I would move there in a heartbeat. The guy working on the Pacific plastic problem is Boy and Slat. He is amazing. I love, see what happens when you just like let people innovate and do what they want to do. John Kerry, the Joel Osteen. The Joel Osteen of the climate change religion. Oh my God, that is so good. John, I'm stealing that from you one day. I'm putting that in an article. I'll quote you. That's so good. See, common sense. Have a problem, you fix. Amen. You're right. If it gets passed, there will probably be horrific celebrations in the streets with more of that trash being left behind. It will. Not just that. I don't mean just that. I mean, if you look, if they care about the global security of the environment If you have to build, we've talked about it on this stream before. If you have to build a lot of like solar farms and wind farms and all this stuff, the amount of rare earth minerals that you have to pull out of the ground would be extraordinary. Not to mention, you would have to buy them from our enemies, China and Russia, where these deposits primarily are. So we would be owned by our enemies. But then on top of that, you have the environmental problems that these things cause. Wind farms, you have to destroy a lot of land. They can only go in certain places. They kill so many animals. So many animals. Solar farms are actually very toxic to the soil that they're put on. And also, you have to have, for both of these things, miles and miles of land destroyed to make room for these things. Miles. And so if you really, really, really want to help the environment and make it better, nuclear. Go nuclear. Only takes a square mile to put a plant down, and it helps a lot of places surrounding it. Just go nuclear. It's not hard. For those just listening and unfamiliar, that's sea traps, not sea traps. Right, sea, as in sea. What's up, Pickled Squirrel? Also, you should pass that line to Jim. Do a cooperative article as cartoon with a basis. Would be really good. That actually, you know what? I'm gonna throw that at him. See what he can do with it. We're getting a small solar farm near us. People are not happy at all. I wouldn't be at all. The mines full of rare earth minerals are in the mountains of Iran and Afghanistan. From the studies that I read, China is sitting on a huge deposit, and so is Russia. So I kind of wonder if that's the case. I mean, no matter what, we're pretty much going to have to approach our enemies. No matter how you swing it. We're going to have to be like, hey, can we have some rare earth minerals? We'll give you some money. We're going to be so in debt, because if the Green New Deal, for those of you who haven't read it, the Green New Deal requires pretty much a national retrofitting, if not absolute destruction of buildings that are incapable of being retrofitted. Like, it would be cheaper to carpet bomb the United States and start over. Wind farms kill birds, a lot of birds. They have graveyards for broken blades, too. They can only bury them. That's so... Dude, this is such a bad idea. Wind farms and solar farms are such a bad idea. Russia is powering apartment buildings in Siberia with microreactors. I don't understand why we can't do this. Like, it just makes no sense to me. It makes no sense. Maybe add Deacon Bishop Le Planet Fever, Al Gore. It is simple without heat and AC, people will die. Yep. Will AOC have a green wedding? I wouldn't bet on that, because AOC, for all the trumpeting she does about how corporations are evil and how, Elon Musk is a horrible person, she's the kind of person who is absolutely hypocritical. She is the one who has been twice caught parking in front of Whole Foods, an Amazon company that she denounced and chased out of New York, illegally parked out front of a Whole Foods in her Tesla. You tell me if she's going to have a green wedding, because my guess is no. We already have microreactors on submarines. It is possible. It's not hard. Yeah, it's not hard to do. I mean, we could implement it and be so green, the greenest of the green, but no one wants to do that on the left. They don't want to talk about it. They won't even let you talk about it. It's ridiculous. It begins! Elon Musk accused of exposing himself propositioning flight attendants. So Elon Musk said the attacks on him were going to ramp up. He said that. We knew what was coming, because he had seen it before. We all have. And he knew that he's actually getting closer and closer to the heart of one of the largest problems we have in our society. And that's that the de facto town square of Twitter is controlled by leftists. So much so, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, There was an article that Kira wrote recently, and I want to show you guys because they are. It's weird that they're doing this right now. I'm not sure why they're implementing this. I feel like it would be dangerous with Elon incoming. But Twitter is effectively now just saying, hey, yeah, we're going to start shadow banning people. Nanny Twitter strikes again, institutes new crisis misinformation policy. Kira Davis wrote this. Twitter loves you and wants you to be happy. Why else would you spend all the time and effort at the expense of actual profit to control what information you're allowed to see and share? It can't be because they have an agenda. Jack Dorsey told us that Twitter does not police speech based on political affiliation or ideology. Certainly he wouldn't lie to Congress. However, just in case you're out there doing crazy things like getting your own information and sharing things that haven't yet been contextualized by our betters in big tech, Twitter has announced that they'll be rolling out yet another misinformation policy to help you morons think of the right thoughts. So here's what happened. Let me see if I can't get a direct link to the blog. Twitter decided that it is now going to openly start addressing, let's see here. Twitter blog. Here it is. This is Yoel Roth. He believes that it is now time for him to introduce a disinformation governance board for Twitter. Since we can't have one at the federal level, might as well implement one on Twitter at this stage with Elon Musk about to take it over. Around the world, people use Twitter to find reliable information in real time during periods of crisis, such as situations of armed conflict, public health emergencies, and large-scale natural disasters. Access to credible, authoritative information and resources is all the more critical. Today, we're introducing our crisis misinformation policy, a global policy that will guide our efforts to elevate credible, authoritative information and will help to ensure viral misinformation isn't amplified or recommended by us during crises. In times of crisis, misleading information can undermine public trust and cause further harm to already vulnerable communities. Do you hear the buzzwords being thrown around left and right here? It's like a buffet of buzzwords. Alongside our existing work to make reliable information more accessible during crisis events, this new approach will help to slow the spread by us of the most visible, misleading content, particularly that which could lead to severe harms. Developing this policy, they don't really tell you who is helping develop this policy. I think that's very interesting. They do mention one entity, United Nations Interagency Standing Committee, which the United Nations is not to be trusted for pretty much anything. Immediately, the moment it said United Nations, I was like, I'm out. Not in support of this at all. Keep in mind that the United Nations is the same place that likes to declare that Israel is guilty of many human rights violations, while it likes to applaud things like China and Iran. So, I mean, I'm not really into listening to the UN about what is and isn't a crisis. They're going to address the most severe harms during moments of crisis. Establishing whether something is true or false can be exceptionally challenging, which is why a centralized agency or a centralized group within a company shouldn't do that. Let the people figure it out for themselves. Rand Paul was right. The American people are not stupid. We debate, we discuss, we weigh facts and information, and then we come out with what we know to be the truth. Eventually it happens. We get to the bottom of it, especially here in the age of the internet. It's not actually hard. It used to be that the truth it was still getting its pants on while the lie was halfway around the world already. Now the truth catches up so fast that once a lie is uttered, people look into it and they discover the truth almost immediately. And that's what gets spread around. Conversation moves quickly during periods of crisis, and content from accounts with wide reach are most likely to rack up views and engagement to reduce potential harm. As soon as we have evidence that a claim may be misleading, We won't amplify or recommend content that is covered by this policy across Twitter, including in the home timeline, search, and explore. In addition, we will prioritize adding warning notices to highly visible tweets and tweets from high-profile accounts, such as state-affiliated media accounts, verified official government accounts, yada, yada, yada. So this is effectively Twitter admitting, hey, if we don't like what you're saying, if we think that your tweet is misleading in any way, according to these people who we trust to decide what is and isn't truthful, we're going to shadow ban you. We're either going to shadow ban you or we're going to make sure that your tweet is shadow banned. This is effectively an admission of it. And I want to make it clear that Twitter is the same entity that went around and did not even remotely question silencing people or shadow banning people for questioning Dr. Fauci, who was consistently wrong and possibly involved during the pandemic, involved in the creation of the pandemic. People have been banned off of Twitter, including actual scientists, one of them being the father of the modern vaccine, or one of the founding fathers of the modern vaccine, banned off of Twitter because he said, maybe the vaccine is actually not that effective. Banned him. He wasn't allowed to speak. What you'll see on Twitter, tweets with content that violate the crisis misinformation policy will be placed behind a warning notice that looks like this. This tweet violates the Twitter rules on sharing false or misleading info that might bring harm to crisis-affected populations. Guaranteed at some point in time, if you have any presence on Twitter, or you say anything on Twitter worth hearing, you're going to run into this. Somebody's going to say you're going to run into this, and it's going to be from an account that is actually saying something factual. Guaranteed. Because this is never, ever, ever, ever about misinformation. It's about narrative control. That's all it is. That's all it's ever been. They have proved it time and time and time again. You don't need to put on a tinfoil hat to say it. It's right there in black and white. And not only that, the people who actually helped run Twitter have been saying it. You see them in videos from places like Project Veritas saying it. Disinformation and misinformation is simply whatever creates opposition to regressive leftist narrative. Exactly. That was the first video that I made, the first RSL highlight that I made for the YouTube channel was about me describing what misinformation actually means, and it is exactly as what the PSA, what Red just typed in for the PSA is. Disinformation and misinformation is simply whatever creates opposition to regressive leftist narratives. That's it. Classic when Elon responded to AOC, stop hitting on me. That was good. Betcha Yoel Roth gets fired by Elon. Yeah. I here's the thing. I typically don't like to recommend people in private industry positions get their jobs terminated because I hate the idea of cancel culture, but this is beyond the pale. Him, Vijaya Gad, these people have outright made it impossible for conservatives to speak their piece, or not even just conservatives. Let's get beyond the political view of this for even just a second. People who have things to say that are challenging to a narrative of a small group of people. Doesn't matter if you're conservative or leftist. I mean, you'll recall that radical feminists were being banned from Twitter because they were saying, no, actually, women are women, men aren't women. So it doesn't really matter your political affiliation. If you challenge the narrative of this small group of people, you're done. It has always been about narrative control. Misinformation is the same as beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder. And right now, they beholden the reins of Twitter, and so they want to control the narrative to weigh in their favor. You think his buddies call him Yoro? If not, then they're missing out on a really great opportunity. Public trust, that's the problem. Exactly. UN and WHO are owned by the CCP. Yep, Tucker Carlson's report last night. Yeah, it was last night. Blew the WHO out of the water. But we knew that already. I mean, I can remember that the WHO had been pretty much... It had its head up China's ass so far that even during interviews, they refused to speak about Taiwan and its inclusion into the WHO. And it was like the deputy head of the WHO was like hanging up on a journalist because she was bringing up Taiwan. And when he called back or something like that, they called him back on, and he was like, well, I already discussed China. I was like, dude, that's so telling. That's so telling. And the USA pays the bills. Yeah, I know. Jumping out of the WHO was one of the best things that Donald Trump did. And I would say that Joe Biden putting his back into it was one of his worst. Well, we can be sure whoever it is helping to create this policy, there are surely commies based on our fleeing employees from Wednesday. I do not doubt it at all. Not even a little bit. Twitter is full of self-important hubris BS. For instance, I never looked at Twitter off info on Ukraine. The raw data from the ground is on Telegram. Twitter scrambles mostly to realign with the sanctioned propaganda narratives as expressed by mainstream media outlets. Yeah, pretty much. That's what it wants to do. Which then they are basically carrying water for a specific political ideology. I will be there until I am banned off Twitter. I also 2 shares. Dr. Mahoney. Yep, that's him. One of the creators of the MR. Yep, him. O'Keefe was having a great time at a comedy club watching his expose. I didn't see Tucker last night episode yet. Obama and Tedros met in Africa back in 2014. Dude, the Tedros guy, you got to watch that Tucker Carlson. After this, go and check out that Tucker Carlson thing. It's pretty crazy. The people that Tedros surrounds himself with is unbelievable. Anyway, back to this, because now that we see where Twitter is going and what they're trying to stop, Elon's getting to the heart of it. He's about to change it drastically, and they really don't like that. Elon Musk's pending deal to acquire Twitter has caused an earthquake in the political sphere. This is from Banshee, by the way. With the news industry and the broader left gnashing their teeth at the proposition that there could be one major social media company that isn't grossly biased against conservatives. Again, you have Fox News being one of the only real, massive news organizations out there that is not carrying the leftist water narrative. The leftist water and narrative, excuse me. And so they're constantly looking for ways to get it shut down. They are constantly attacking advertisers that might advertise on Fox News. It's why you constantly see Fox News selling, not major brands, but lower brand stuff. Advertisers are too scared to team up with Fox News because if they do, they're going to be attacked. And Elon Musk saw it coming. He tweets this out. Political attacks on me will escalate dramatically in coming months. He knew that because he's seen it happen before. On Thursday, they definitely escalated. Elon Musk's prophecy came true. Business Insider, a far-left rag, published a thinly sourced hit piece accusing Musk of exposing himself to and propositioning a flight attendant. According to the report, she was paid a $250,000 severance after filing a complaint with SpaceX. Before I read what Business Insider wrote, wasn't Business Insider also the same rag that allowed 2 women to come on and make unsubstantiated claims against Dave Portnoy? And Dave Portnoy absolutely destroyed these claims. What is it about Business Insider trying to like reawaken the Me Too like fervor against men who do not toe the left-wing line. Don't you think it's a little weird? Anyway, this is from Business Insider. SpaceX, the aerospace firm founded by Elon Musk, the world's wealthiest man, paid a flight attendant $250,000 to settle a sexual misconduct claim against Musk in 2018, Insider has learned. The attendant worked as a member of the cabin crew on a contract basis for SpaceX's corporate jet fleet. She accused Musk of exposing his erect penis to her, rubbing her leg without consent, and offering to buy her a horse in exchange for an erotic massage, according to interviews and documents obtained by Insider. The incident, which took place in 2016, is alleged in a declaration signed by a friend of the attendant. Okay. The incident, which took place in 2016, so that's 2016. Let's count. 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22. 7 years. No one said anything. No one said anything for 7 years. And on top of that is alleged in a declaration signed by a friend of the attendant and prepared in support of her claim. The details in this story are drawn from the declaration as well as other documents. So real fast, a friend, not necessarily a key witness, just a friend. Okay. Including email correspondence and other records shared with Insider by the friend. As per the usual, these types of media-led accusations, the documents in question are not shared in the story. Interesting. The actual source is a single anonymous friend of the woman who was supposedly paid off over the alleged incident. That makes it impossible to ascertain the veracity of the report. Are they missing details? What do the documents actually say? Was the account disputed or admitted to by Musk? What evidence was provided that the encounter happened as described in the story? The allegations are 6 years old and were apparently kept under wraps by an NDA until this point. That they are coming to light now, just as Musk is about to take a major weapon away from the left, is hardly a coincidence. Musk responded by asserting that there's more to the story. After Insider contacted Musk for comment, he emailed to ask for more time to respond and said there is a lot more to this story. If I were inclined to engage in sexual harassment, this is unlikely to be the first time in my entire 30-year career that it comes to light, he wrote, calling the story a politically motivated hit piece. Gee Willikers. So he gets closer and closer to doing exactly what he said he was going to do, and as Bonchi well stated, take away one of the primary weapons of the left to spread their narrative around. A narrative that they are really trying hard to buckle down on right now, as you can see by the creation of their latest little policy. And on top of that, Musk has been very, very, very open about his shift to the right from the left. You have a man who is openly advocating for free speech, actively working to implement free speech in the de facto town square. And suddenly, out of the blue, out of nowhere, this woman comes forward and says, "Oh yeah, well, I was sexually harassed by Elon Musk." Yep. Weird how these things just suddenly pop up out of nowhere whenever men are about to come to power or serve in a high position. Brett Kavanaugh. Let's revisit that for a second. The left tried to shut down Brett Kavanaugh, one of the most upstanding people in the United States of America, to the point where he got nicknamed Choir Boy. And they accused him, when he was about to achieve a seat on the Supreme Court, they accused him of being a sexual predator who ran a sex ring in high school and college that was apparently so good And so secret that they maintained, everybody, every single person involved, including the victims, maintained silence about it for decades. At what point do they go, we really tried hard to push this nonsense before and it never worked out. Maybe we should stop. I don't know. Maybe we should find a different tactic. Nope, we're going for the same thing. It might be broke, but we ain't gonna fix it. Dennis, thanks so much for hanging out with us, man. Really appreciate it. I got popcorn. What about Kavanaugh? Holy hell. Yeah, exactly. Flat out lying. Even the people that she declared that were going to back her up came in and were like, I have no idea what she's talking about. I don't know. Making the poor guy cry for drinking a beer in college. Because, it was never about, it was never about qualifications. It was just about the fact that they knew that if Kavanaugh achieved his position on the Supreme Court, then it would actually wreck some of the most closely held, holiest of holy institutions in the United States of America, which was abortion. And after Trump, it had Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett. It actually did happen. It was great. It was awesome. I loved it. But it was about stopping an agenda from being carried out, and keeping another agenda going is really what it boiled down to. So they would destroy an innocent man with whatever they possibly could in order to get their way. And here we see it again with Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a sexual predator. Okay. Yeah. Right. Y'all believe you this time. Despite the fact that you have been, and when I say you, I mean leftists, have been lying incessantly about sexual assaults, sexual harassment cases for a very long time. And I don't just mean with the Me Too era. I mean, like, you go back, you can see it happening all over rape. It used to be almost trendy to accuse men of rape. Because you had the UVA case, you had Mattress Girl. You still see it from time to time. The one guy recently was accused of rape. I think he was back in high school or something like that. 5 years later was found out that he was completely innocent. He never did it. And I'm seeing more and more that there are certain states out there that will punish the women who claim that they were raped or sexually assaulted. If actually it never happened, they're being punished themselves. And I think that that's fair. Because if you try to destroy a man's life by falsely claiming that he raped you, then your life needs to be destroyed. It needs to be like a ricochet. Boom! I got friends. Oh, wow, missed that part. Only one of these is arguably believable, and it sounds like the sort of thing that would be said as a joke or a high joke. I could totally see High Elon saying, "Rub me, I'll buy you a horse." If here's the thing, I don't know. I mean, Elon might do something like that. From what I understand, he said he's typically not the type to get high. That whole Joe Rogan thing was actually a rarity for him. He does have a meme-centric sense of humor, so he might have, but I don't know. A little strange, if you ask me. A friend of a friend told her girlfriend's boyfriend's sister that her cousin heard in a 7-Eleven that it happened. It's just a little out there, It's like, okay, yeah, sure. The timing is impeccable. What was that politician who was doing really well? I think it was like when he was running against Romney during the presidential election. I think it was that far away. he had like the 777 plan or something like that. I can't remember his name now. It's going to drive me crazy. He's a black dude. He died recently. Like he was actually really doing well, and then out of the blue there came a sexual assault allegation against him. You go all the way back to Clarence Thomas, sexual assault allegation against Clarence Thomas. Like they have been using this over and over and over again in order to make people go away. So at this point in time, and Clarence Thomas is innocent. So at this time, I can't, and so is Brett Kavanaugh, I cannot help but think, hey, you got evidence? Because if you don't got evidence, then you got nothing. And I don't believe you until you do. Elon Musk is innocent until proven guilty. That's my position. Remember that lacrosse team? That was insane. That was the UVA case. If I remember correctly, the UVA case that the Rolling Stone had reported on, and the Rolling Stone made this unsubstantiated claim from a woman, a girl, who said that she walked in and she was gang raped by the UVA lacrosse team. And as it turns out, she was not at all. They actually they found texts and all this sorts of stuff that told the truth. And I believe the Rolling Stone and the reporter were both sued. But the damage had been done. These guys who were accused had already been punished for a crime they never committed. I believe that they had to, some of them at least, had to leave because they were facing intense backlash from the students, despite the fact that they were innocent. Like and back then, you had that believe all women thing going around. Always believe all women, believe all women, believe all women. And that mentality had existed up until the Me Too movement. After it had finished, people started to go, I don't know if we should believe all women. Herman Cain, thank you. It was Herman Cain who had that sexual assault allegation leveled against him when he was doing well in the Republican primaries. Yeah, I stand with you on that point for absolute certain. Innocent until proven guilty. If they've got the goods on them, then bring it to court. Yeah, if you have info, give us the info. It's that simple. If you don't have good information, if you don't have proof that what happened, then sit down. I do not believe a claim that was made about an event that happened 7 years ago, and you have nothing to show for it. Nothing. No stringing. Exactly. Because I'm tired of this stuff. I'm absolutely tired of it. This is so stupid. Elon has more to say about the accusation against him, claims he has the perfect name for it. This is from Nick. So Elon Musk saw this happening and he decided to respond. The attack against me should be viewed through a political lens. It absolutely should. He is absolutely correct about that. This is their standard, despicable playbook, but nothing will deter me from the fighting for a good future and your right to free speech. God bless you, Elon Musk, but he's right. This is their standard, despicable playbook. We've seen this again and again and again and again and again. And here's the thing: the Democrats, for a very long time, I mean, this worked out for them. It's like they never failed. If somebody got too close to hurting them, they would wheel out a sexual assault allegation. And either the scrutiny or the pressure would intimidate people into backing down. Actually, that's about it. The scrutiny and the intimidation would cause them to back down. That's pretty much, I mean, it works almost every single time. Oh, or the institution that they're trying to work for would be like, he's too hot. We can't have him. He's got to go. Got to go. One of those two things would happen. Elon Musk is at the top, though, so the institution can't just reject him. And thank God for that. But he is absolutely right. This is a political attack. It's not a moral attack, and we all need to make that very clear, the differentiate between the two. This is not a moral attack. This is not people trying to get down to the bottom of a bad man. This is just a political group trying to stop Elon Musk. This is just a political group trying to stop someone from dampening their power, because at the end of the day, it's all about power. And Elon Musk is on the verge of taking away one of the biggest chunks of power. And they are scared. Poopless. And it's kind of cool. But he didn't leave it there. On Thursday night, Musk addressed it even further on Twitter and challenged the victim to prove their claim. And for the record, those wild accusations are utterly untrue. But I have a challenge to this liar who claims their friend saw me exposed. Describe just one thing, anything at all, scars, tattoos, that isn't known to the public. She won't be able to do so because it never happened. God, I love that stuff, dude. Y'all remember back in the day when they were passing Obamacare? And they were parading themselves through the streets after, like, y'all remember Nancy Pelosi was holding the gavel and, like, they were walking down the street and they were smiling, but, like, hardly anyone was doing anything. It was, like, silent. It was, like, pretty creepy. But they were, like, trying to parade their power, their newfound power in front of people with her gavel in hand. And they were walking into the stairs. I think they were walking back into the Capitol or something like that. I can't remember exactly where. But there was a claim that people who were angry with them were shouting racist things and spitting on black Congress members. Y'all remember that? And Andrew Breitbart, God rest his soul, said, I will pay someone $10,000. I think it was $10,000. I will pay someone $10,000 if they can give me video of this happening. $10,000. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I like the fact that Elon Musk got on Twitter and he's like, describe my dick. Can you describe my penis, please? You saw it. Describe it. What a Chad. They tried destroying Rittenhouse for self-defense. They knew that if they could destroy Rittenhouse for self-defense, they could use that as a launching point for pretty much destroying anybody who shot someone in self-defense. Thank God that failed miserably. Binger and Cross will have much to answer for in the end. Elon is not backing down. He has already planned this. He builds rockets for a living. Yeah. Prove it what's down there. Dude, I cannot think of a better challenge. That's amazing. Remember that walk? I was not happy about that. The arrogance. Yeah, I watched that moment, Amtru, and I'm just like, God, you people are evil. That is pure evil. You could tell the crowd, like the vast majority of them were just like not happy. They were just like, it was almost like a death stare. And Nancy Pelosi is what stands out in my mind the absolute most. She's like looking around with this like plastic smile on her face, like holding the gavel. And it's almost like we own you and you and you and you and you and you and you. And it's like, oh my God, I just, ugh. The sooner she gets out of Washington, the more healthier it will be. Hey, they did it to Michael Jackson. Cops took pics for verification. Oh, yeah. I remember that. Can you pick? Just take a picture. Like, Elon can make it. Take a bunch of pictures of different ones. Like line up 10 in a row and be like, all right, point to Elon's. Which one is Elon's, please? They might get Amber Heard to get a description of his willy. Oh, my God. Mark Evans, thank you so much for the sub. Really appreciate it. Finally, we get to use the Elongate scandal name. It's kind of perfect. Oh, my. It's over. Elon wins. Elon wins. Just sit out. Everybody else sit out. God dang, that's perfect. Elongate. Holy shnikes. If there's ever a scandal about me, please call it Elongate. But no, it's Elongate. Oh my God, how can you not love this guy? How can you not love this guy? Real fast, because I think it's interesting, because we don't have that much time left, but I did want to kind of talk about this for like half a second. You know what I should have done now that I think about it? I should have, for the thumbnail for this, I should have just put Elongate as the title. Just Elon. You know what? If this is still going on by Monday, which I don't even know if it will, but if it still is, that's what I'm doing. Mark my words. Monday's stream, the thumbnail is just going to say Elongate. Elon is going to Mars sooner or later. He put a test. Yeah, he is. That's what I'm talking about, baby. We need to be a spacefaring species. We just do. We've been tied to this planet for too long, and we got to leave. Elon said something really great. He said Earth is the cradle of civilization, but at some point in time, like every adult, you have to leave the cradle. At some point in time, you do. Fireworks on Monday. Knives will come out. Oh, I'm pretty sure they're not done yet. They're going to throw everything at Elon, the entire thing. And honestly, I do not think that people are just going to not believe them. At this point in time, they've used up, because I said earlier, like when this started, the stream started, I said Democrats are the party. They like to claim they're the party of a lot of different stuff, but the Democrats are the party of dramatics. That's what they're priming. And after a while, you can only cry wolf so many times before people start going, there's no freaking wolves, bro. Could you stop, please? This is annoying. I don't believe you. So real fast, before we go, I just want to give a shout out to Netflix. Netflix has pissed me off royally. I will probably never forgive them for what they did to Cowboy Bebop. One of the greatest, if not the greatest anime to ever exist. But shouts out. Because they've learned their lesson, which I cannot say for many other studios or companies. Every single one of them, is, especially if they deal in entertainment, have gone completely and totally woke. It has been a struggle for many people who do not want politics and their escapism to find a place where they can land softly. God bless Netflix, because they have been on a roll lately. They have been turning away from woke nonsense. They recently told their employees that if you do not like working on some of the stuff that is not ideologically your cup of tea, then you know where the door is. You can see your way out. I think they learned their lesson because recently you had Cowboy Bebop get canceled after 3 weeks. The backlash to Cuties was kind of still technically occurring to this day. And then on top of that, you had them launch the Dave Chappelle specials, both of them, and both of them received absolute abject hate from the left, especially the trans community. And when the trans community attempted, or the leftist community attempted a walkout, it got, at best, tepid support. While the support for Dave Chappelle was with Elon Musk on Mars. Okay? Now, as it turns out, Netflix has learned its lesson so well, apparently, that they've begun canceling woke shows. Or canceling their them being made. And this is according to Variety. Netflix has pulled the plug on several animated projects, including Wings of Fire from executive producer Ava DuVernay, who is, from what I understand, a kind of a woke social justice creator. Anti-Racist Baby, a series aimed at preschoolers. And With Kind Regards from Kindergarten, a film tailored to youngsters. The streaming service also scrapped Stamped, Racism, Anti-Racism, and You, a documentary intended to serve as a companion piece to Stamped from the Beginning, which is a hybrid documentary and scripted feature that delves into race in the United States. Stamped from the Beginning is still moving forward and is currently in post-production, so they've already got that done, so they're going to release it. But the sequel, no. Bye. The kids show that's supposed to be attached to it, bye. Variety reported that the sources at Netflix said that it wasn't a financially motivated move, but a creative difference, which I thought that was a very interesting way to say it. Now, I do not believe that it was not financially motivated, because a company doesn't do anything unless they think it's going to be financially beneficial for them. At the very least, financially beneficial for someone at the top. An Anti-Racist Baby is based on anti-racist scholar Dr. Ibram X. Kendi children's book of the same name, was imagined as a series of animated vignettes set to music for preschoolers. Kendi also wrote Stamped, Racism, Anti-Racism, and You, which will no longer run in tandem with the adult-skewed Stamped from the Beginning. Those three projects were made to examine racism for audiences of all ages. According to Page 6, Netflix has also spiked Meghan Markle's new show. Netflix axed the Renegade Royals' expected upcoming animated series because of budget cuts amid plummeting subscriber numbers. Deadline reported on Sunday. The series was supposed to revolve around a 12-year-old girl on a journey of self-discovery inspired by the legacy of famous women from history. So Meghan Markle's out. Kendi's out. The social justice stuff is out. That's not to say that they're abandoning, like the budget cuts are going to wipe away a lot of new shows. They're still working on Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, Kung Fu Panda the Dragon Knight, My Dad the Bounty Hunter, and Gabby's Dollhouse. All of these are still set to come out. But a lot of the other stuff is gone. The woke stuff is gone. I've got to say, credit where it's due. Congratulations to Netflix. Congratulations to Netflix. I'm happy. There has to be companies out there that learn this lesson. Netflix has clearly learned this lesson. I am actually excited to see what they're going to come out with in the future, because if they are going to go this route and they're going to make sure that the politics and all that stuff is kept to a minimum, imagine the shows that they're going to produce. Imagine if this had happened, if like they had made Cowboy Bebop after this reawakening. What kind of Cowboy Bebop, live action Cowboy Bebop will we have now? It's really something to think about. So I'm going to say this, and y'all can disagree with me if you want to. Go resubscribe to Netflix. Reward them. Reward them for what they're doing. If you have Netflix that is stepping away from social justice, if you have Twitter that is stepping away from social justice, hopefully with Elon's purchase, that's two very large companies that a lot of people interact with and use who do not engage in radical leftist messaging. They should be rewarded. They should be rewarded with your attention, with usage. The shows that you like on there should be viewed, interacted with. And they say, you might be saying, well, Brandon, this is just because they're losing money and they need to make money. They're stuck. Okay. Show them that they can get customers back whenever they engage in escapism and not politics. I'm all about the boycott. Because I think it's far more effective than the boycott. See you way out. See you next Tuesday. If they get rid of cuties, David Chappelle was good, though. Who knows? I think they should get rid of cuties, yeah. Just take it down. Bye. Kendi, that guy's a racist big time. CRT all the way. Yeah, and he wants to make a show for your kids? No thanks. No thanks. It's an okay start. Yeah, it's an okay start. They got a ways to go. Netflix, I still think they got a ways to go before they're completely on their feet when it comes to being a very middle of the road. And I'm not saying I don't want them to go like conservative. I'm just saying like I want them to go middle of the road. Not carry water for a political party and you know, invest heavily in social justice messaging. That's what I want. And if they do that, then the possibilities are endless for what they create after this. There's a lot of stuff out there that I would like to see that doesn't carry that water. And I bet Netflix is a great company to be able to... Liberals suck! Thank you so much for the sub. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, they still got a ways to go, but I think this is a great start. And I think that they should... That these steps that they've been taking should be rewarded. I absolutely do. Because they're on shaky ground right now. Real simple. Just leave kids alone. Amen. Don't approach my kid. So, see what they do with Tolkien first. That's Amazon. Amazon is doing that one. And I already know what they're doing with Tolkien. And I'm going to watch the first episode of it for my job. But I can tell you right now that I'm not looking forward to it. I don't want to watch it. I'm only going to do it because it's part of my job. And I can use a subscription as a tax write-off. I think a small group of resubs are valid, but I think it's too soon to flood back. No, I understand, Red. I understand. But I do think that they need to get a little bit of money back. I think they need to reclaim some subscribers. I really do. The fact that they told their woke employees that they can kick rocks if they don't like what's going on, that in itself deserved a really good pat on the back, at least. At the very least, it deserves good press, which is what I just provided for them. Inflation is nuts now. All the more reason to vote out the people who caused it. Someone else took over the paying of my Netflix, so it's their money being wasted. Screw it and screw them. If they come back, then you'll be glad you had it. If they come back from the leftist brink. Y'all might disagree with me on this, but I am 100%. I am all about rewarding good behavior. And I understand over time that boycotts, especially for corporations this large, do absolutely nothing. After Cuties, a good chunk of their subscribers fell off, but they remade it up in like 2 weeks. That's how big they were. Now, given, I'm not saying that Cuties didn't haunt them later on, but it just goes to show you that corporations can easily come back from the brink. But it seems to me that these people are now trying to turn themselves around. They've learned their lesson, or at least it looks like they have. If they haven't, then I'm wrong. Unsubscribe. But if they have learned their lesson and they are canceling these woke social justice programs, especially the ones aimed at your kids, if they're telling employees, woke employees, if you don't like working on this stuff that you don't necessarily agree with, then there's the door. They're telling them that stuff. That is way more than most other companies are doing right now, or too scared to do. I'm willing to reward them for that. The only reason that they are changing is because of all the people that left. Only reason. Okay. Then let that be the only reason. But here's the fun part. Let them understand that this move that they're making right now is going to be rewarded, or it's going to attract people back. And that this is the right move for them. And if they go back on it, then let's unsubscribe again. I'm a big Tolkien fan, so maybe. I'm a huge Tolkien fan. And it's one of the reasons I'm so, like, scared of watching it. You know what else I'm... Just real fast. Before we go. This nonsense pissed me off so bad. I refuse to watch the Halo series. I love Halo so much. I refuse to watch this nonsense. And what's funny is the Halo co-creator confused by many of the choices made in Paramount Plus live action. Not the Halo I made. No one's watching it. If it gets renewed, it's a stupid idea. No one should watch that renewal either. Nobody. You might have a Paramount Plus account to watch certain shows. That's fine. That's cool. I think many people watch Yellowstone. I think it's on Yellowstone. Or Yellowstone is on Paramount Plus, if I'm not mistaken. Yellowstone's a great show. You can watch that and not watch this, and they will learn their lesson. Cowboy Bebop is a really great example from Netflix. Really great example. If it is not Tolkien or Wheel of Time, what epic do they have coming up with? It's not the same place. That's one thing that I want to... Many of these people say, well, it's not necessarily the same universe. We're going like they did with the Halo series. It's not like necessarily the same universe as the game. It's just, you know, it comes from somewhere else. I do not think that looking at the Amazon stuff that I've seen for Tolkien, or this Lord of the Rings series that they're doing, it does not look canon at all to me. It looks like they have made up characters based on characters that they found in the books, but it's not the same. So I cannot consider it in canon. Like, as a Tolkien guy, I've read the Silmarillion like 3 times. Like, I love Tolkien. It just does not ring true to me. So I'm going to be watching it, and I'm going to be like, this isn't Middle Earth. Like, the back of my mind is going to absolutely outright reject it. I already know for a fact, and I'm saying this because I've heard of the leaks. I've heard of the campaigns that Amazon tried to do and stuff to make it seem better than it actually is. The campaign to make all the influencers say the exact same thing. That tactic, you know. It does not seem like it's going to be good. It is going to be a social justice romp through Middle Earth. And I'm not there for it. I'm going to watch the first episode just so I can say that I did it and report on it honestly. And then I'm probably going to drop it after that. Not watch it. And this has been Amazon's most expensive project to date. I hope it fails. And there's a slim chance that they're going to surprise me. And it's going to be good. A slim chance. And if it is, I'll eat crow, man. I will come on here. I will, not only will I apologize in an article, I'll apologize on this stream. Hand to God. But I don't think that's going to happen. From everything I've heard, it's going to be an absolute disaster. Dark Mirrors was good. I've heard that. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard that. Just cancel everything and watch Twitch streams all day. Twitch is controlled by leftists too. Well, ending Amazon might pick up Netflix. I actually use... If you need something to watch, go watch Peaky Blinders. Such a good show. Turn on subtitles, but go watch Peaky Blinders. It's very good. I love that show. One of my all-time favorites. Cowboy Bebop is on there, and I don't mean the live-action version. I mean the anime. Go watch that. It's like required viewing, in my honest opinion. Community, one of the greatest shows sitcoms ever made, up until about, I think, the 4th season, or maybe it's the 3rd. After the 3rd season, you can skip ahead to the 6th. Obviously, Arrested Development up until the 3rd season. There's a lot of great stuff to watch on Netflix, but Amazon, I've been using less and less. HBO has been hit or miss, kind of. I don't know, there's too many streaming services now, to be honest with you. It's like, why did I cancel cable only to pay just as much, if not more, for all the various streaming services I have to get? It's annoying. Yeah, but not all streams on Twitch are run by Twitch. So we do all agree about micro boycotts then, huh? You can watch others play Tarkov and either pick up some pointers or cringe on their mistakes. You just described my Twitch stream. By the way, if you want a good non-political stream and just hang out and have fun, twitch.tv/the Morse Code. I'm live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. We have a good time. Guys, that'll do it for me. Enjoy your weekend. We made it to another week. Follow me at @TheBrandonMorse on Twitter. My DMs are open. If you want me to talk about something, be sure to tell me about it. I'd love to talk about it with you. Go to redstate.com. Everything I've talked about today is on redstate.com. Sign up for our VIP program. You can use promo code MORSE for a discount, MRSE. It really helps us out. Be sure to like this stream and subscribe. Thank you guys for the subscriptions today. Really appreciate it. And the likes and the conversation. You guys have once again killing it. Again, as I said at the beginning of this stream, you guys are making all of this possible. We're growing exponentially, and it's all your fault. Thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. I love you guys. I will see you guys on Monday. Be there on Monday. Maybe Elongate will keep going. In any case, y'all have a good weekend. I will see y'all later. Peace.